I'm good. How are you?
Are you feeling a bit nostalgic after an year?
Yeah, yeah.
For
Yeah,
those,
I think so.
for those who don't know, Abhishek, he was the person with whom I shot the first vlog for his success story at Morgan Stanley. And it has been an year now. And I invited him today for the review session of the resumes that we asked on the Telegram group. And the cherry on cake is we will be sharing the template that would act as the close to perfect template for all the college grads out there.
Right.
So
Just like to add that, like we always say that, there is nothing as such perfect, but at last, I think what we will be sharing will be a resume that, let's just say that, has high chances of getting noticed or getting recognized. So yeah, yeah, excited to begin. Sure,
time
sure.
we shortlisted couple of resumes that we will be walking you through, where we'll be identifying the regular mistakes that a lot of students commit, and then you can analyze your resumes and check whether have you committed those same mistakes or not. If you have committed those mistakes, then it's time to rectify them so that you don't repeat them again. So the first
Right.
resume that we have chosen is, let me just share my screen.
The first thing that I noticed was that, people should also take a look at, how they name, or like what name of the file that they give, right? So your
Definitely.
resume should not be like final resume or pre-final or latest final or something like that, right?
Right.
It should just contain three words: your first name, your last name, and resume. Better to be like in a camel case situation, uh, and that's it. You don't need like final, pre-final. Even if you have those versions, make sure that the resume that you submit anywhere just has these three words. You don't need anything apart from that. Let's just keep it like that. I mean, like, that's the first suggestion that I'll start off with.
Great tip, Abhishek. And how do I keep it? I keep it Sanchit Dudeja. I have resume at the at the end of it, and I also
Yeah,
write the year in which I made that resume so that I have that versioning support inbuilt in my Google Drive.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
helps you keep track of the improvements that you did. So great tip, Abhishek. So guys, what you need to do: your first name, last name, followed by resume, phrase, followed by the year in which you have made that resume. And
Yeah, and so just to add that, Sanchit, the year bit, I think this is more for you to keep track of. But let's say when you submit it somewhere, you don't need that year bit when you submit it on a portal or upload it on a portal. So like maintain two versions. The one that is, that represents your latest copy. This is, at least that is how I do it. The one version that represents the latest copy of your resume. I call it like Abhishek Jain resume.pdf or whatever. And then, you can have, so that's the copy that I'll upload on different portals. And then, there are your, for your own local work, maybe you can have what, name it whatever you want, right?
cool,
So yeah.
sounds good. So, guys, the names have been changed, the phone numbers have been changed. So don't try to spam or check out their profiles. You'll not find those. The first resume is of Vasu Valecha, obviously name changed, identity not revealed. So let's walk through the resume one by one, each portion of the resume. So here he has provided the email ID, the phone number, and the LinkedIn profile. I think this is pretty good. However, there is a catch. Uh, I'm not much interested in the location from he is coming from. So specifying Ganganagar, India is of not much importance. Probably we can use this space for something else. What do you say, Abhishek?
Right, Sanchit. So like, what I'll say is that, when you think of resume, what are your thoughts, right? So it is your version of it, it represents your work on a paper, right, of who you are
Right.
on paper, right? Now if you're representing yourself or your version, necessarily it doesn't need to have your location, right? Because today maybe you are in Ganganagar, tomorrow you might be in some other place in the country, right? And so I feel that, that is something that you don't need to have, and you can get rid of that.
And not even country, anywhere across the globe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
you need to save space for the rest of the information.
Right.
It's very important that you use judicious use of space when building your resume.
Right.
Let's proceed
Uh,
ahead. Vasu has provided his education section over here. I find it pretty fine. He has
hmm,
he has stated the college he is working right now. He's studying right
hmm,
now. Then he has also told the degree he's gonna graduate in, followed by his higher secondary, followed by his senior secondary. This is in the chronology order. Along with that, he has also specified the years in which he passed out of his college and did his higher secondary and senior secondary. And he has also specified the CGPAs along. So this is a plus point. This is well written. This section is well written.
right. I just have few thoughts on this section, Sanchit, if I may add.
Sure.
Uh, so, what this is what I feel, that if you are a person who is in your pre-final year or final year, right? So,
Mhm.
I mean, like, uh, you should not include. I mean, like including your 10th year or school name, or if you completed 10th or not, or if you completed 12th or not. I
Mhm.
mean, like, these are all obvious informations, and I feel that you can scope them out of your resume. You can add some other information over here. So let's say in your education section, right? Let's say you have done some courses, online courses from, let's say, like Coursera, right?
Mhm.
So this is how I did. So in my resume, I did one machine learning course from Stanford.
Mhm.
So I added that course, right? So this guy has done a programming for everybody course
Right.
from University of Michigan.
Right.
So he can add that course in his education, since he also must have some relevant course certificate for that resume, right?
Yeah.
So this is part of his education that he obtained, whether it is from a coursework that is present online.
Mhm.
Still it constitutes his education, right? So maybe he can, or they can put that section over in their education section. This is my suggestion. Because if you are in your college, then it is given that you must have passed your uh,
Right.
senior secondary and higher secondary, right? So
So I call these items as fillers. When you don't have much
yeah.
things to specify, use them as fillers because there's no harm. And since the percentages are good, so it gives a good impression that the person has been studious from beginning. So keep it
Right.
as a filler item.
Yeah.
Let's proceed towards the skills section. This person knows C, C++, Java, HTML, CSS. I think from a college grad, this is what is expected, and he has clearly specified those fields. With
Right.
respect to achievements, he has solved 350 plus questions on DSA, CodeChef second star, highest rating was this one, attempted 30 plus contest, Geeks for Geeks, and finalist in Smart Gujarat for India Hackathon 2020. What I feel, I would have kept this one at the top because
Right.
this is an extra brownie point. Like a lot of people are doing lead code, code chef, and geeks for geeks, but nobody has been the finalist in Smart Gujarat for New India Hackathon 2020. So this is
Right.
my the point that I should highlight.
Yeah. And like they say that when you are in an interview, you
Mhm.
are the person who is driving the conversation, or you should be
Right.
the person who is driving the conversation, right? So if somebody has done something or achieved something in a hackathon, or something like that, that is kind of an achievement for them. So it is like Sanchit said, that it is your job to highlight that, either when you're giving your introduction, or in your achievement section. Keep that on top, so that it catches the eye of the interviewer or your recruiter, and that can be a talking point for you to, like, take forward your conversation with the interviewer.
Right. Definitely. So Abhishek, the other thing that I would like to highlight is his Geeks for Geeks score. This score is not relevant to the HR nor to the company, nor there is any benchmarking. Like companies don't judge you on the basis of the score that you have on Geeks for Geek website. It keeps on changing. So I would not suggest you guys to specify these many details on your resume. Also, it is dynamic in nature. The problem count keeps on incrementing, the score gets on updating, so that's not something that you should highlight. Rather, lead code, it gives a fair idea that you are working hard for in improving your DSA skills with this 355 plus questions. Similarly, the code shift rank, so I would say to put your best foot forward and specify the restricted or the best profiles that you have.
Right. uh, that makes sense. And also, if you also attempt, so like if you also attempt some contest, right? Like I think in the second point, they have attempted some contest. So whatever rank, if you have achieved a good rank in that context, so that should be like that is being considered as kind of an achievement, right?
Right.
So that is something that you should highlight or that should come under achievements. Like one and I'll advise, you know, all the members to take this with a pinch of salt. But if you have solved, let's say, 350 questions or maybe 10,000 questions, like does it really matter? Do you guys think that that's kind of an achievement? But if you have like if you have won some contest, or you know, if you're like the fourth point, right, that this guy was a finalist somewhere, so that's kind of an achievement that I feel, right?
Right.
So we should try to note down those kinds of achievements rather than, you know, displaying our counts of the questions that we have done. So I think, but yeah, I think that's my view.
Yeah. So adding contest rank probably within 100 gives you an extra brownie points that you are very good at DSA and algorithms. And probably the intent here was to specify that I'm a hardworking person and I have solved these many questions. So
Yeah.
let's give them some leverage too.
Yeah.
Let's move ahead, Abhishek, with the project section. So he has worked on two things. One is e-commerce and blogging website. He made an e-commerce and blogging website using technologies like front end, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, Django, Python framework, jQuery, and databases SQLite. Here he has specified the technologies used, but I don't get the intent. What has he exactly done while building those websites? Because the scope could be huge, the scope could be less. I was expecting few more details in that area.
Yep. You're right. I mean, the first 2 or 3 points when you describe your project should be about the project. I mean, what does this e-commerce and blogging website actually do? Does it allow users to blog something, or does it allow users to make some purchase or review some products? I want to know about that. So, and those are good points that, you know, are valid. And you know, instead of placing some place fillers in your resume, you could use those points to explain what you have actually done in the
Right.
project.
Right.
So that is something that we should take care of.
One thing that I do stress is whether I build it individually or worked in a team. So right now I didn't get that feel from reading this project details.
Yeah, that's missing.
And let's move ahead with the face recognition, face emotion recognition. Technology is used OpenCV deep face Python library, and it can recognize 7 different types of human emotions and predict out of the most dominant emotion. So I got the context that what he actually worked upon and the technologies used. So if you carefully see, then there's an order difference. In the first project, he specified some details about the project. Then he talked about the technologies used.
Yeah.
Here he did the reverse. So maintain a constant order across your projects, a constant pattern.
Right.
It
Yeah.
makes it more readable. Let's proceed ahead, Abhishek, with the internship section. Web developer internship. He worked as Web Solution Private Limited, Ganganagar, Gujarat. He started this from in February to 2020, and he's working so far till there. I think this has not been updated. Get to know about the framework, CSS web framework, Tailwind CSS. Also started to gather knowledge about Flask Micros framework for the backend. It lacks details. So I
Yep.
think it's quite vague the way he has presented this data, and he should definitely add more details. Like I got that he's learning something, but not anything apart from it.
Yep. Uh, so one thing that, you know, I feel about this is that like how you maintain your like, so the layout across your resume should be same. So like the way he described his projects, the font that he used versus like he has described it in italic font. So while
Yeah.
he's describing his internship experience, so that is inconsistent, or you know, is not a very good user experience when somebody reads it, right?
Right.
Apart from it, uh, don't always, so like we always know, right, that you know, we, instead of writing paragraphs, although it is just a two liner, but
Mhm.
in general, you should break it down into bullet points, right? If a person has done 3 months of internship or even 2 months of internship, they should at least have 5 points about what they have done, what tools they have learned, or one thing or the other. There it should at least be 3 to 5 points about that internship, that they must have done something right.
Right.
So I think that is being that is missing over here.
And like this guy has been working for 6 months, so there is a lot to
Yeah.
specify.
Yeah. So the another point is that make sure that when you upload your resume, all your dates are correct.
Right.
They are factually correct.
Right. Because in case you have missed out something, then it doesn't look like to be the authentic one.
Yeah.
So let's proceed ahead, Abhishek, with the experiences section. Under experiences, he has mentioned the Tech Fest, and he has stated he was a core team member. Successfully managed the national level fest at the position of a core team member. I think this is something that he did in his college, and
Mhm.
similarly here as well. IETE ISF core team member successfully managed and conducted various events like coding quiz, ethical hacking workshop, PCB designing workshop. Again, something that people do in their college time frame.
Yeah.
So this should not come under experiences section.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
we would have put it under extracurricular or
yeah.
something on those lines.
Yeah. You're right.
Languages known, I'm not interested.
Mhm.
English is more than enough. It's a widely accepted language across the country in IT sector.
Yeah.
So there's an assumption that you know English. Soft skill, teamwork, adaptability, problem solving. This is an inherent thing. You should
Yeah.
be knowing all of this. So no need to specify this. Again, you can
Yeah.
utilize these spaces over here for elaborating on your internship section, your project section, and your achievement section. These are the areas that HRs usually look out for.
Yep.
Any
Uh,
point that you would like to add on, Abhishek, over here?
Sure. So at last, for this resume, I'll say that there are I see a lot of formatting issues in this resume.
Hmm.
I'll start from the top and I'll try to point them out so that people who have done similar things can help from it. The first thing is that you don't want your name to be like appended on the. So if you're using this layout, make sure that your name is at the center.
Hmm.
So like in this case, Vasu Valecha should be in the middle of the resume, because that is where your person will like people will look right at first
Right.
glance.
Right.
Apart from it, once you have placed it over there, there is no point in like maintaining a subsection just to give your other location details, right? You
Hmm.
can put those as subheadings under your name only,
Hmm.
right? uh, in a single line.
Hmm.
The next thing that I see is maintain consistency in the way you define your information. So
Right.
let's say if the pattern that he followed in education is that he specifies the year at last, so he should do a similar thing either in the project section. But in
Mhm.
project section we see that he is specifying the year in in the first line only. So
Mhm.
either maintain a single pattern across, and
Right.
and I will say that the pattern in which you specify your years in the first line is a better one. So make sure that you do it like that only,
Mhm.
or make it uniform across how you actually structure your resume. These are all the basic things that
Right.
people tend to ignore, but like it constitutes overall of a good experience to read something, right?
Right.
uh, and
It makes
it
it easier to catch and
Yeah.
read. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Because as humans, our brain tries to look for consistencies when we read some documents. So the more you make it easier for your recruiter, either your recruiter, because they are not technically sound. So the more your job is to make things easier for your recruiter so that they can find the relevant information very quickly, and see that okay, this guy is matching all my requirements, so I'll just proceed with this guy. So it is your job to make life easy for your recruiter, so that eventually your life is easy.
And they
Like
have
that.
to go through approximately thousands and millions of resume in their career. So
Yeah.
it should be easily readable by the HRs. If it is not,
Yep.
then you have not done due diligence for creating your resume.
Yep.
So time to move ahead.
Sure.
So the next resume that we have is for Amar Raj. And guys, we are being slightly more critical over here so that you get the maximum learnings out of it. Don't take it personally. We are not there to offend you guys. We are there to help you out. So here, Amar Raj provided his photograph. I think the space on resume is Very important. You make a judicious utilization of it. Photographs are not needed. Again, he did the same mistakes. He specified his address. He belongs to Uttar Pradesh. Not needed. He specified his email ID. Probably that is from the college he belongs to. However, I'm looking out for more meaningful email IDs. For example, Amar Raj @gmail.com. And don't make your email IDs that belongs to your college. Why? Because it's not gonna stay with you forever. Use Gmail for that purpose. Next we have is a phone number. I have redacted that up. His LinkedIn profile and GitHub profile. Sounds good. He has provided the links there. Again, he has provided a lot of coding profiles. Put your best foot forward. You represent those where you have best ratings, I would suggest. Next, he has provided the professional summary. Professional summary can easily be copy pasted by everyone out there. So no need to specify this if you don't have enough content. However, in this case, since there were so much content, he could have skipped it up. This page looks like completely filled, which reduces the readability of the entire page. So we can skip this section number. Let's proceed ahead. Technical competencies, languages no C++, Java, Python, Kotlin, JavaScript, libraries, framework, Flutter, Android, Django. Sounds good. So this section has been perfectly written, well explained. I got the context that he knows a lot of things. Let's move ahead. Interpersonal skill, team leadership, time management, networking. I think there's an assumption that you will be good at it. So let's skip it up. Next, we have interests and hobbies, workout and reading. No need to specify. Languages known, again, not needed. Personal details not needed. The education section states the college he graduated from, then it's his intermediate, then it's 10th. So this looks fine. There's a format in which he specified his educational details. So we are good there. Let's move to the internship section.
Sanchit, just 1 second. Before we move to the internship section, right? Just wanted to highlight one thing, right? In the technical competencies, I see a lot of skills that are being mentioned, right?
Right.
The only thing is that, we always find ourselves tempted to the fact that, the more we specify over here, the greater, or the, the more sound we will look like, right? That, this guy knows a lot of technologies. On the contrary, suppose if you have just started to learn, let's say, Flutter or Android, and you're not that well versed with the technology, and if you have a bad day and the other person who is talking to you is has done some significant work, right? And if he asks you something on that or on those lines, then that might hurt you more.
Right.
So the suggestion is that, just keep or justify, at least put something that you can justify, because this is on paper, right? So only put those things which you're confident about and which you can justify if asked any questions.
Great
Don't run
point,
behind that,
Abhishek.
yeah.
Great point. Because interviewer is definitely gonna ask questions from you on these topics, and in case it appears that you are faking it up, then there is no chance that you will get through.
Yeah. So yeah, let's proceed ahead.
Next, he has specified the internship section, the company he worked for, the duration he worked for. Sounds good. He contributed to an international e-commerce application using Flutter, Git, and GitHub. Worked as a lead developer initially, along with a member of 5 teammates. So this sounds a lot fishy. There is this is an internship, guys. You can never act as a lead developer, and you can never be given a team where that is of size 5, and you are leading that team. So because like we are experienced folks, it takes years to reach this level where you are leading a team of 5 members. So you can't do this in internship. This is for sure. So this is a fishy thing.
So one another thing is that like another way to look at it is that, like when Sanchit, you read it, you thought that, how can a person who is interning somewhere can lead a team, right? Maybe the thing is that the person has not articulated what he wanted to say in a good way, right? So always make sure that the choice of words that you use there, because whatever you write will be taken on its face value. So make sure that you are able to communicate your ideas. Maybe it was that he was the friend guy in that 5-member team, or there was a group of 5 people who were working on a similar internship project, and he was the person who was the most working, or was leading that way. but
Right.
that doesn't translate to a lead developer somewhere, right?
Right.
So you should be very particular about what words that you use when you are
Mhm.
like crafting your resume.
Probably he got carried away.
Yeah.
Integrated card-based subscription payments using TAP V2 APIs sounds good. Integrated social login, Google using Firebase. This also sounds promising. Optimized API calls to increase app performance by up to 30%. So this is quite significant. I again, like this can catch interviewers' eyes and say that in internship, like in 2 months of time frame, will it be really possible to improve the app performance by 30%? In case you are able to justify is nothing like it, it's a great brownie point that you have got.
Yep.
However, in case you get caught, then you are gone. So you yourself have to make the judicious call whether to write it this in this manner or not. Worked on more than 200 tickets assigned during internship. So this is also not needed. An extra information and 200 guys. There are only 60 days. How can you do like 200 tickets? On an average, you are doing 3.5 tickets a day. Again, overkill. Let's move to the project section. B2B invoice management application. He has provided the link, the duration in which he worked for, technologies used, again, well specified, an an AI-enabled full-stack solution using agile methodologies, worked in more than 45,000 records in the database, trained ML prediction model with accuracy score of this, two types of data visualization. The types are not specified. Again, this is not articulated well. Responsive receivable dashboard, CRUD operations, pagination, not articulated well. So he could have framed a better statement over here using the intent that he wants to portray. Also, he could have uh, put this 65% at the topmost point and specified AIML in that statement itself. The second statement can be avoided as well because 65% improvement is a great improvement. So the
Yeah.
number of records would have been a handful number. That's the assumption. Yeah, you were saying
One more
something.
thing. Yeah, one more thing is that when I read the first point, it says that this guy has used agile methodologies to
Mhm.
work on that project, right? This project.
Mhm.
Now, the thing to understand is that you might be learning about agile in your college time. I think there are some courses that
Mhm.
that you can take, so that you can learn about agile. But
Mhm.
agile actually kicks in when you are actually working in a corporate world, right? There we follow that agile pattern in which that's the actual agile that we do, right?
Mhm.
So when somebody, or when if even if I'll read this, that in the project he followed an agile method, so maybe I'll ask some questions on
Mhm.
what was the ceremony like, or what questions about agile in general,
Right.
which I know. So this, if you know about agile, that's well and good, but the place to put this is in the internship section.
Mhm.
uh, because if you were interned at a good company, they might have followed agile there.
Right.
So you should put relevant things in the under relevant sections,
Mhm.
and not on not the under irrelevant sections. Yeah.
Mhm. Right. Great point, Abhishek. I totally agree with this. Next, he has specified about the house party, the link he has provided, and Abhishek and I have already checked that these links operate. So please make sure whatever links you are putting in your resumes, those are operational. The technologies that he worked upon built a secure, authenticated guest host based party room application, consumed Spotify API. He could have been written some more information, like consumed Spotify APIs and did what?
Yep.
So he could have articulated it in a better way, deployed web app on Heroku. Yeah, and he has provided the link of Heroku, which is a great point. We checked that this link is operational as well. Next, he has stated information about the music player. He stated the link, the languages that he worked upon, and the technologies used, developed by keeping agile methodologies in mind. Spelling of agile is incorrect, and this is not needed actually. Built on MVVM architecture with repository pattern. This is a good point to state. Tested APKs with 15 plus physical devices and 2 emulators. You are not going for a testing profile. You can skip this point. Deployed APK on an open source repository F Droid link of the application. Again, it makes me feel that this is a genuine work. Next, going ahead, he has talked about Flash, Link, the technologies used, built a cross-platform community chat application, consumed Firebase email and password authentication service, used real-time database to store text messages, deployed the version on Netlify. Yeah, this also sounds promising. Moving ahead, he has specified the academic achievements, CodeChef Jam, qualified Facebook Hacker Cup 2020 qualification round. This is also good. And 400 plus problems on LeetCode and Geeks for Geeks. So this could have been presented above in the resume rather than, since all these things are great points to have, great things to highlight, I would have specified them much on the top rather than keeping them at the bottom. Similarly, the certification and award section. He has worked on Android app development, data structure and algorithm specialization, and introduction to soft computing. Again, good things to specify. I could have put them over somewhere here once this space is available. So I could have redesigned this resume so that it gives a better portrayal of my personality.
Agree.
Abhishek, let's move ahead to the next one.
Yep, let's do that.
So the next resume is for some Pandey. I have redacted the name so that the identity is not revealed. And this person has not invested much on his resume. I will never shortlist it. The only brownie point that I see, or the catching thing that I see, is he's associated with Delhi Technological University, which is a tier 1 university. He has also not specified the percentage or anything like that. And personally, I will not select this resume up. So guys, invest some time building your resume. This is your identity that goes into the company, on the basis of which you will be called. So if you're not ready to put in effort while making it up, then don't cry for internships or getting shortlisted.
Yep. I think, Sanjit, there is nothing to sum up in this resume because there is literally nothing in this resume, right? So I think the person maybe who has uploaded this resume will get some ideas. Let's just move forward.
Yeah, let's move forward. So let's move to the next one, which is of Riya Goyal. So Riya has specified the objective over here. It's not needed, as I told before. And what she could have done better, she could have specified the email, the phone number, and the LinkedIn profile in the top row itself, separated by a space. And let's move to the skill section. She has specified the skills that she is aware of: C, C++, OOPS, data structure, algorithm, SQL, HTML, Bootstrap, JavaScript, Node.js. This looks a quite handful skills for a college grad. Great job. Interest, problem solving, data structure and algorithm, web development. Again, she has done a fair job writing this up. Education section, BTech in electronics and computer engineering, the university, senior secondary, and she has specified the percentage. Since I can see some spaces left, you could specify higher secondary as well, but your choice. No hard feelings there, but if you have space and you feel like it doesn't give a complete picture, or you can specify more, go for the higher secondary as well. Probably I would consume more space while presenting my project section. Real-time end-to-end encrypted chat using Node.js and Socket.io, a source code link over here. This looks something very interesting to me. Developed and designed a real-time chat application for multiple users. The spelling of users is incorrect. Please don't do such mistakes in your resume. To do end-to-end encrypted chats sounds again promising. AES, Advanced Encrypted Standard Algorithm, is used for encrypting and decrypting message. I'm not sure of this algorithm. Interview will definitely ask questions on this. Tools and technologies used: HTML, CSS, Socket.io. Like, fair job over there. Dynamic codes, source code. Developed a full stack website from scratch where user can read codes. So I think you can specify more details over here, like reading codes. Is it like an accessibility kind of a thing, or what? Tools and technologies used: API, HTML, CSS, Visual Code Studio, JavaScript, Node.js. Great, sounds good. Keep notes. Used to maintain our day-to-day task or a list of everything that you have to do. So one thing that I could sense is the kind of work or the kind of contribution you have made onto this project. Obviously, you can't build them fully individually by yourself. So if you have worked on one part of it, please specify that I've worked on this part of it. I don't build the entire product by myself. I have a team working with me. So obviously, you would not have done it by fully by yourself. A Netflix clone discovered the most popular, top rated, and latest movies. Technology use these. Again, few more details would not hurt anyone. It will make it appear more genuine, more authentic. Abhishek, do you have anything to add on over here?
No, Sachin, I think you have covered it pretty well.
Okay, achievement section 1000 plus coding problems on Lead Code and Geeks for Geeks. 3-star on Lead Code, currently having Geeks for Geeks rank 3 out of 1010 students in university. I think this is university centric, so you can also skip this up. The first 2 points give a fair idea that you are good in data science and algorithm. Certifications, data success and algorithm, web development certificate. Again, this looks fine. Probably you can go for a few more courses as well if you think you have time in your college, and that will act as an extra point on your resume. I think Abhishek,
Yeah.
you also did something like that on AI/ML lines, right?
Yeah. I had one certification. I have actually two. I had two certifications. One from NPTEL, and that was on in natural language processing, and the other one, like I said, was on from Stanford University,
Mm-hmm.
via Coursera.
Okay.
So yeah, and to be honest with you, that was always when I was applying for internships, and when I was initially applying during my first year, those were always the talking points
Mm-hmm.
for me, like because that always caught the other person's eyes, that
Mm-hmm.
okay, what you did, or how was it
Right.
you uh, how were you able to learn these things, or how were you able to manage these things, something like that. Another thing that I like to say over here is that I see that if Riya will get rid of the, let's say, the because if she wants to get rid of the interest section, or maybe certain things in the achievements or certification section, what you can do is that you can club certificates and achievements together. Let's say name it awards and recognitions, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And because that is kind of, so like having a 3-star on Lead Code is kind of a not exactly an award or recognition,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's also not an achievement, right?
Right.
So the thing is that you have to also, like, if you have done some certifications, so that could go under your recognitions or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to model it in that way.
Right.
But yeah, and more importantly, if you feel that you are lacking, or you have a lot of space, how do you feel that? So work on like detailing of the project section. I think
Mm-hmm.
that will help. And I am seeing that there is no internships under her name.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also one
She's
thing
in
that
third year right now, so probably she
okay.
will be working on it.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then they should or she should probably detail out the project section
Mm-hmm.
as much as she can. I think that will be helpful.
I think she tried doing it. She needs to add more point to it,
Yeah.
to give it a more authentic touch, or to
Yes.
have more topics of discussion where you work on certain areas.
Right.
And to Abhishek's point, if you have done something exclusive, which is not commonly available, like data success and algorithm certification is very commonly available among college students. What Abhishek tried saying, if you do something that is exclusive, that will give you a topic of discussion where you will be driving the conversation in your internship interviews. So have that
Yes.
one point at least on your resume that will make you stand out,
Yeah.
as happened with Abhishek as well.
Yeah.
I think we went through 4 resumes so far, and it's time to
Yes.
show the template, the best one that we could identify across all the 17, 18 resumes. And the
Right.
resumes of Samar Kulkarni. Obviously, name change, but he did a pretty good job of portraying the skills that he have, the kind of projects that he has worked on. And if you go and check out the readability of this resume, kudos to you, man. This is generated using an overleaf template. I can share the details as well, how to build the resume in this particular template, and it's easily available over the internet. Let's walk through his resume. So he has specified his name at the topmost section. Pune, Maharashtra is not needed. He could have skipped it up. The telephone number, the Gmail ID, and his LinkedIn profile. this is how Abhishek wanted Riya to specify the details, the
Yep.
phone number, email ID, and the LinkedIn profile, and try
And
and go.
just
Mhm.
sorry,
Yes, yes,
and
Abhishek.
just adjacent to the LinkedIn profile, you can also specify your lead code profile, right?
Yeah, that
Uh,
can be done. Slash
yep.
link
Because
profile.
Yep, because that's how I do it in my resume. I
Mhm.
specify just beneath, just beside my LinkedIn profile, I just specify the hyperlink of my lead code profile, so that and this has happened actually with some of my recruiters, right? When
Mhm.
they looked at my resume, they eventually opened my lead code profile,
LinkedIn
and they
profile.
were lead code profile,
Link
and they were
profile.
able to see that okay, I have solved this many problems. So
Mhm.
so instead of me writing it down in my resume, they in turn were telling me that okay, you have done this many problems, so you must be good at problem solving. So this is what is called as like an intelligent use of spaces, how you manage your space, and give the details where it is needed. Yep.
And it basically becomes more intuitive for them to click on the lead code profile link when it is
Yeah.
specified closer to the LinkedIn one
Yep.
and at the top. Yeah, great point, Abhishek. Next, he has specified the college he'll be graduating from, the degree that he will be getting, the year which he's working. He started his graduation in it where when it will end, and he has not specified his higher secondary or senior secondary percentage, which is again fine. And however, he has made sure that the resume is single page and well filled. So I don't see any space that is lacking in this resume or a vacant space, which is a great job done by someone. Let's move ahead to the Microsoft internship. Microsoft Engage intern, mentored program by Microsoft, worked under software engineer at Microsoft, built a project on one problem statement out of three given in mentorship program, uh, built a web application using MBT architecture, which will give an alert to the user based on the emotion detection detected in face and facial analysis of all the faces detected in in an image. Probably I would have kept this on the top because this is basically describing the kind of project I have worked upon. And guys, please do give it a name as well, like what kind of project you worked upon. So I have to infer it from the description over here.
Yep.
Microsoft, in the first two statements, he has probably specified just the Microsoft keyword, which could have been avoided because I got that sense from Microsoft Engage intern. The
Another
last
thing,
one, yeah, please go ahead, Abhishek.
another thing that I will say, like that which catches my eye, is the fact that he has highlighted the points that wants to be
Mhm.
which he wants to stood out, right?
Mhm.
So like, if you see, he has highlighted the MBT architecture.
Right, right.
So
This is in
yeah, so
bold.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming, yeah, so I think this is something that he may be confident. So similarly, if there are some points in your descriptions that you're confident about, or you want the interviewer to talk or go
Mhm.
over there on those areas,
Mhm.
highlight them.
Right. Definitely. Used OpenCV image processing, Django, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, face recognition, and machine learning in project. Again, a good way to specify the technologies used. The next one he has done is a web development intern and internship certificate. I'm not sure why he needs to specify it over here. Probably he can skip this up too. Worked on a project using Django as backend and Mongo as database. Guys, please maintain the same formatting as you do in the first while specifying the first one. You have specified the technologies used at the bottom, so keep it at the bottom over here as well. A minor feedback. Designed a one-page website where all courses are rendered with the help of APIs. Probably what kind of APIs have been used, some more details would make it look more authentic. Worked on a database relations in backend. Again, a good point to specify. Uh, when you are building something and you want to talk about that you have used databases, probably you can specify whether it was an SQL database or no SQL database, and be prepared for the questions that will be asked on them. So if I worked on SQL databases, probably in colleges, most of the college folks were no SQL, so they can specify SQL once over here, and that will also give you a topic of discussion in an interview. Let's move
Right.
ahead. Abhishek, do you have anything to add on over here?
No, Sanchit, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay, great. Project section, developer search, Django, Python, SQLite, Project link, GitHub link, a website where all developers around the world can register and showcase their project and skills, communication with each other, well written, various features implemented as CRUD operations for user profile, such and login, sign up, search projects according to tech stack, send messages to another user and comments. I think he has specified the kind of feature that he has worked on. That's also a good thing because it gives me a feel that he has built something on these features. Implemented database relations in the backend, such as one-to-one, many-to-one, many-to-one with ORM in Django. Again, this is a learning that he got from this project. Alert app, OpenCV, Django, face recognition, machine learning, project link, a web application used with MVT and machine learning architecture. Again, you could have put this in bold. It will give you an alert using to the user based on the emotion detected. I think this is same as this one, the Microsoft one. Guys, he could have clubbed this over here itself, like write an alert application and then specify the details. Face recognition includes various face features such as emotion score, face detection score. Used cafe model for face recognition, Django as backend with OpenCV, image processing and machine learning. Again, yeah, this is quite an elaborate description of the kind of project that he has worked on. And going ahead, highest rating of 4-star on CodeChef, well written, top 15% rating in lead code, solved 1,000 problems on CodeChef, Code Forces, Lead Code, and Geeks for Geeks. Scored for SmackDown 2021, a pre-elimination, which is of the biggest competition program contest across the globe. So I would have specified it on the top if it is that significant. Ranked under 300 in CodeChef November lunchtime. Ranked in top 10% of Google hash code. Again, Google hash code is quite significant. I would have specified it on the top. Highest rating of people in code forces. Institute ranking 1 on Geeks for problem solving. Again, well written. The achievement section is well stated. Profile links. Again, he wanted, probably he's maintaining all these 4 profiles. So he specified it up. And then the technical skills. He has not specified extracurricular, the languages known, soft skills, which is again a great job done by Samar because this is a technical resume. The use of space is should be judicious.
Yeah, I think we covered some good points in this resume. Some final feedback that I'll share is let's say like when you throw in some keywords, right? So let's say in the alert app, we can see that there is image processing, there's machine learning. So at least make sure that although whether it was part of your internship or something, these are heavy words, right? So make sure that some things about them. You can answer, you can go into some depth about them, or what you exactly did using these technologies in that particular project. Because the thing is that the last thing that you would want is the other person to catch your bluff, right?
And it should never backfire.
Yeah. So it is, and that being said, you should not fear away in writing what you have actually done. Or if you have learned something on the way, not exactly something that is being implemented by you, but if something that is you have learned over the way, and you understand it in and out, then also you can claim that, given that you can back it up properly, is what my suggestion would be.
Definitely, I totally agree with it.
Yep.
So Abhishek, this was it. I think thanks for taking out time on a Saturday for doing this for the community, and kudos to you too. I hope your journey at Morgan Stanley keeps going the same way. Keep on shining, keep on working hard over there, and probably we can talk more about your experience at Morgan sometime in the next vlog.
Sure, Sanchit. Thank you.
Okay then. I think it's time to sign off. It was a pleasure talking to you. Bye.
All right. Yeah. Bye.